Hello and welcome to our very first Millionaire Girls Movement podcast. Today we're going to be talking about what's interesting and what's going on with me, what I'm writing about, what I'm talking about, and some topics that I think might interest you as well. So one of the things we decided to do with this podcast is really just use it to reach out to you and talk about some of the things that are interesting, that are going on in the world, some of the emails we're getting, questions that people ask, so that we can create a dialogue for you. Now, I'm going to just tell you right now that we are filming in my house in summer, and it's like we're filming in a pizza oven. So if I look a little sweaty and dewy, hopefully that's working for you, because I'm not going to get cooler as time goes on. I can tell you that right now. So I'm thrilled that you're joining us. And here's what I want to talk a little bit about today. So right now I'm just about to publish an article about self-advocacy. And this is a topic that comes up all the time. I do a lot of speaking engagements on it. I've done numerous programs on it for large organizations and also for just smaller groups as well. And this topic of self-advocacy is super interesting for a number of reasons. One is that people get very nervous about this word. You say self-advocacy and they think, selfish. It sounds like it's all about you. So today what I really want to do is talk about in defense of self-advocacy and how I think self-advocacy is really about service to others. That sounds counterintuitive, right? But here's what I'm talking about. One of the things that I think I see happening a lot with clients and women I serve and work with is women are badasses when it comes to being advocates and activists for others. I mean, if you need something done, frickin' get yourself a woman, because she will pick up the sword and she will slay that dragon. She will make things happen. But when it comes to self-advocacy, when it comes to doing for oneself, we struggle mightily with this. We're serving our families, we're serving our job or our career or our communities or our children's school. And really what happens is there's really very little left for ourselves. And I think that this is problematic. You know, I have to tell you very frankly, I think we have an epidemic of women who feel guilty and exhausted. They're overworked, they're overscheduled, they're underappreciated, and sometimes they're undervalued. And I really think that the only way we can actively get there independently on our own is to advocate for ourselves, to make this happen of our own accord. So what does self-advocacy look like from an actionable place? Well, there are a couple things. You know, one way is when you look at professionally, for me, it comes in the form of asking for a raise, asking for flex time. I've helped more than one woman craft a job from zero, the ground up. And what I mean by that is that job didn't exist and we said, hey, we see a need. Let's create this job, pitch this idea to a company, and both of them were able to actually make a defense. That's self-advocating, saying, you know what, I need more flexible time, coming from a place of value and worth. Because that's the other thing that I think you really need to think about. This isn't about asking for something you don't deserve. For a lot of women, their strategy is, damn it, I'm going to work harder than anybody else, and somebody will notice me. It's a super passive strategy, and maybe they will, and maybe they won't. But imagine this, you could be making more money, not by working twice as hard, but by simply asking for a raise. Think about that. That's crazy. And it's so interesting to me because I get women all the time who are my age, 45 and north of 45, who will say to me, I've never asked for a raise in my life or negotiated a salary in my life. I've always just accepted what was given to me. I think we can also negotiate the terms of our lives. You know, how many of you, let's just be really, really frank, right? You don't actually say to your spouse, you know what, we need to sit down and negotiate the terms of dividing the domestic labor around here. And here's why, because I am overscheduled, I'm exhausted, and I'm feeling cranky and it's not serving anyone. It's compromising my happiness, the family's happiness, probably my health. So I need you to help, and this is what I really want you to do. That's not what a lot of us do. Here's what we do. We go and we do it ourselves, and we have this internal martyr dialogue, right? Well, if I don't do it, it won't get done. And you know, if I want it done right, I have to do it. Or the other thing we'll say is, I don't want to have to ask. I want people to just do it. I want my husband or my children to just do it. I shouldn't have to ask. Well, I am going to say something pretty harsh to you. Get over yourself. Stop going around silently punishing people who cannot read your mind. You need to be able to say, you know something, there's a lot of work to do and I cannot do it alone and I need your help. You are serving no one when you're doing everything. If you want to go off and be the team mom because you have the adequate time to do it, then sign yourself up and say yes. But if it's one more thing you're doing out of guilt or you feel like you have to do or you want to prove that you're a great mom, it's okay to say no. Adding more to your plate is not what makes you a freaking phenomenal mother. You're a phenomenal mother because you love your children passionately and you protect them and you take care of them and you do for them. All of those other things are really important if you are able to do them. But if you just sign up for them, you are discounting your own value. You need to self-advocate for yourself, and that means being able to say no to people and being able to say yes for yourself. When I think of self-advocacy, for me, it's not really just about getting a raise, getting an opportunity, getting a promotion, or getting a bigger client, and for those of us who are entrepreneurs. What it's really, truly about is it's really about taking care of yourself and making yourself the number one priority. Now, I guarantee you there are those of you who bristled and twitched at this notion. Well, I'm not the priority. I mean, my children, my family come first. Nope. You know how everybody tells you when you're in a plane you've got to put on your own oxygen mask first? That is absolutely right. If you don't care for yourself, if you do not advocate for yourself, there is less of you to show up and give to your family, to your community. You are basically compromising your health, your joy. And so what you deliver to those people in your life is actually not as good. If you really care for others, you need to advocate for yourself. And you need to do it also because that's the legacy you're leaving for every woman behind you. You need to go ask for that raise, ask for that opportunity, so that you leave that legacy for others behind you to do the same. You set up that expectation. I believe passionately, and we know this from plenty of research around the world, that when women do better, their families do better, their communities do better. If that's true, that when we do better as individuals, that our family and our communities do better, that means the world does better. So when you self-advocate, you're actually not doing something that's selfish. You are delivering your greatest, highest, and best self to the world. And that's what we really ought to be doing. And by the way, I think it's super hard. I mean, I'm going to tell you, I've had an interesting month. I've gotten my ass kicked with house repairs. So I'm going to tell these little stories because they're both absurd, and I think it will help you understand how hard it's been for me to ask for help. So it started with, I have this trellis and fence in the back that were really literally falling apart, and I thought, well, I'm just going to commit. Now, one of the things about the Millionaire Girls Movement is we work really hard to tell you to make sure that you have enough money. So should these things occur, you have an adequate amount of funding to be able to pay for them with cash. And, I actually, walk the talk. And so I had the money and I paid for this, and it was a couple $1,000s. And in the middle of that project, we discover on this side of my house a gas leak. Well, of course we do. And when that gas leak occurs, we have to lay another gas pipe, which is going to be about $1,000. Then we decide, there's another problem. It's going to be another $600. So we're at $1,600. Now, this is all very exciting. And as if this isn't enough, I walk home, I come home last week in the middle of the afternoon, and I'm on the phone with a client who was it wasn't a regular scheduled call. She was just calling me to ask a question. And I walk into my room to a swarm of frickin' termites. A swarm. Just so you know, a swarm is not a mommy and a daddy and a baby. That's not what a swarm is. A swarm is like their friends, it's like a whole continent of people. And I closed the door and I went and I killed these termites. By the way, now I feel like I'm a badass. Don't F with me. I can kill a whole swarm of termites, okay? So I was sort of posting and dialoguing about all this crap that was going on with me on Facebook. And I was remarkably calm. And I was saying, well, the hardest part about all this is that, I'm my own best solution. I've got to do this on my own. And somebody popped up and said, how can I help you? And somebody else said, what can we do for you? And it was really interesting because my gut reaction was to slough it off and say, oh, nothing, I'm fine, I can take care of it. And then they started private messaging me. And what I realized was there was plenty of help and support. If it weren't for, hey, could you make some calls to termite companies? Could you help me go and do this? But I had to go and do it. And I wasn't really used to that. That's not what I know how to do, even though I train women to do this all the time. So I am working really, 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 really hard to make this happen, to be able to ask for myself and self-advocate personally. I'm excellent at doing it professionally. It's why I've gotten to where I am, but I find personally it's a real struggle. And what I hope for all of you is that you really re-examine your relationship with self-advocacy and look hard at what you can accomplish. You can do more with community and help, but you've got to go and ask for it. You can't sit around and wait. You can't sit at your desk and go, well, I'm going to chain myself to my desk eating vending machine food, and somebody somewhere is going to notice and they're going to give me that raise. That's not a strategy at all. You have to go and make a case for yourself, an unemotional case that's really just based on the quality of your work. And if you do that consistently, what I can tell you is it improves the quality of your life in so many ways. One of the things I said to somebody was very recently, we were talking about negotiation, and I have helped women actually negotiate hundreds and thousands of dollars in salary increases. And one of the things I said was, to me, the whole process of negotiation, I actually have never worked with somebody where we didn't get more than what was actually originally offered. We didn't always get what we wanted, but we always got more than the original offer. That isn't the piece that's so impressive to me. It's not the money. I know that sounds really strange, but the thing that is so impressive is that process of negotiation is really an act of self-advocacy. And what I've learned from that is it changes who you are. When you claim your value in the world, when you sort of say, this is my value and I'm going to defend my worth, that changes who you are for the better forever. It is the most extraordinary exercise you can possibly imagine. And so I encourage you all to start self-advocating and share with us your experience about that, because we really want to hear from you. This is really, really important work. We want you to set that example for your daughters and for yourself and for the women behind you. We think it's important, as I said, because we know when you do better, your family will do better, your community will do better, and the world will do better. And in the meantime, we would love for you to like our Facebook fan page at the Millionaire Girls Movement, and also make sure you join the daily motivation for $3.99 a month. You can get kick-ass, motivational, actionable sort of ideas and things to do to really build up your confidence and become motivated to live your decadent dream and live your very, very best life. So we'd like you to do those things too, and jump on our site at themillionairegirlsmovement.com and subscribe to our blog. And until next time, go out there and start self-advocating and jump online and share with us how you're doing that for yourself. Until next time.